What is up, guys? So today we are going to start off on creating some low fidelity wireframes for this project, and I can tell you right now this is probably going to be a fairly quick video because I don't think we're going to spend too much time on the low fidelity. The project is already a very small project, and I've already discussed with the client here what we want and what he wants out of this, and what my opinions and thoughts are on essentially what he wants. So we've kind of already had a discussion prior to this where we scoped out some of that, but he sent me a document of something that he created that kind of represents what he wants his site to be. Now, the client, just to give you a little context, he is a designer as well. So no, he's not a UI and UX designer, so he doesn't do things for web. He really does a lot of branding, but he does have a good idea of, the whole design realm and everything that goes on. So we had a good chat, and we discussed the website and what he wants and what he wants it to look like and some features that he wants. So we kind of have an understanding of this already. And I can tell you right now, again, it's going to be a small project in the sense that there's not a ton of pages. Well, different pages, I should say. I think it's mainly going to consist of, like the landing page, and then it's probably going to have an about me page, somewhere for contact, and then really just a place to show off all of his work. So within that page that lists out all of his work, each of those individual pages will be unique, but they will be templated. The unique part will be that they're all for different projects. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. That's just a kind of rough idea of what the site is, but let's go ahead and jump on into the screen here. I'm going to be screen recording my iPad, and we're just going to sketch some stuff up in, I think it's Adobe Draw or something like that. It's pretty neat. I use that for all of my low fidelity wireframe sketches, so we're gonna play around with that a little bit. I'll throw up the document that he sent over on the screen as well, so you can see that. So I'll be referencing back and forth as I talk about what we're doing and some ideas that I have, and we'll kind of reference his point of view on what we're doing. So let's just go ahead and jump on into that now. Alright guys, so I'm in Adobe Draw here, and this is the app that I mentioned earlier on in this video, and it's really neat. You can draw in here, and it's all vector, so you can export this as a PDF and have full resolution no matter what, which I like. I mean, it can make a large PDF if you've got, I think, the largest size on here. I've got the largest is set as 6,000 by 6,000 pixels, but right now we're just working in 1,000 by 1,000. So let's go ahead and get started. So real quick, let's just take a look at the document that was sent. So this is, I think it looks like it was done for a class, but we're going to scroll down and see some of the mock-ups that he started working on. This is the home page, which it's like a landing page, and the navigation for this site isn't really conventional. So that's one thing that I'm gonna note right off the bat. We've got we've got the first tab here, which is GUR, which I don't think currently links to anything. And then we have work, about, and contact. So I do really like the colors and the way that this is used, and we're gonna essentially recreate all of that in CSS, so he can go in and change those colors as he wants, and he doesn't have to worry about changing the photo every time and reprocessing a photo. So that'll be very easy. And the one thing I do like about this design a lot is this is really going to enable us to utilize the new CSS Grid. So I'm not super familiar with the CSS Grid, but I am really excited to start using it and try and get familiar with it. So I mean, this just simply breaks down into this vertical set of rows instead of columns once it goes down to a mobile view, which again I feel like would be very simple. Let's scroll down to the next page he's got here. So this is one of the sub pages, and this is where, for me, it starts to fall apart a lot. Again, I mean, the navigation is very unconventional. It's not typically what you would see. So I do kind of want to just completely scrap that and rethink this. So he's got a hamburger menu here, but there's no clear way of how that drops down and how that would function. So I've got some ideas. And we'll jump into that in just a moment. Let's go down to the next one again, and then this looks like it's the layout for the work page. Now this I actually like a lot because a lot of the work that he does is all about branding and brand identity. So having the logos right up there, nice and large and in my face, I do really like that. I mean, that this page really speaks to me a lot out of all of them, honestly. Again, the navigation is just something we're gonna have to take a look at and see what the best way is to do this. But I don't think it's gonna be anything complicated. I think we can keep this fairly simple. And then inside of each one of these projects, we've got the actual project page. So I had a conversation about this, and there will be some other additional information other than what you see here, and we are going to be redoing this layout. There's the second version of it as well. What the layout will consist of for the projects, at least, it is going to have a date, the client name, the project type, paragraph description, and then essentially just a bunch of photos that will show off things about the project, whether that's the logo or just as you see in the design here, the way he's got like the logos mocked up into these different views of everything. So I think it's going to be a lot of that. So I kind of want to figure out a cool way to lay all that out. So anyways, with all of that said, let's go ahead and let's just jump into this design real quick, and let's just zoom in here and start sketching something out. So I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna worry about too much of straight lines or anything like that. This is just meant to be rough. So to start with, let's just get a screen here. And my apologies for, this is the first time I'm ever actually recording this as I sketch, so it's a little difficult with the microphone in my face. But anyways, let's go ahead and just keep sketching this stuff out. So I really do like this gridded view here. Let's go like this, put one here. So we got Gur, so that's cool for, like, you know, the branding, like as his brand, that's going to be his logo. And then it kind of falls into, sorry, this is bugging me. Kind of falls into the way that the rest of the words are laid out here. So then we got work. Yeah, and then about. And then the final thing here is contact. So those are essentially the 4 pages, and as basic as this is, I really do like this. So I'm not gonna do too much with this here, but we can go ahead and just start on another page. So I'm just gonna title this here. I'm just gonna call this home, and let's jump down to work, and maybe we can figure out something to do with that Gur tab. I'm not sure about right now, but we'll look into this. Anyways, let's get this next screen going. So if you remember, he originally had that hamburger navigation, but I don't think that's going to work because the home page, or the first page we get to, is really the navigation page, that all of this right here. So to have a hamburger that would then kind of pull up the same page doesn't really make logical sense. And then to have another to have a hamburger navigation that would pull up the same links essentially in some other design also doesn't make sense. So one of the things that I'm thinking about is, well, let me just title this one work. One of the things I'm thinking about here is we can easily have like a back button, and I think that would make a lot of sense. And we can even keep the branding here, so that kind of helps us stay familiar with what everything's, where everything is. Let's see, we can have a header here. I do like the big tiles of logos and everything, so let's just come in here and I'm just going to create a little grid looking thing, and this, each one of these can be its own project. So I'm just they're just images, and that would just repeat down. All project logos. Okay, so that's decent. We can look at something else as well. Maybe we can come up with another idea for how we want that to look. Let's come up with something here. Maybe we can have like a different layout that's a little less compact. So maybe we've got like a project here. All right, so this is the logo for it. And then maybe we've got like one over here. And this right here is the logo. So we can do something where it's kind of staggered like that. You could have a little bit of information here. So maybe we could have the title and like the date or something like that. And then over here you can have the title and date. So I mean, that's an idea. It's kind of, I've seen that a lot though, so I'm not sure how exactly I feel about that. But something else we could do that might make a little more sense here. Let me just create this. I'm gonna make this one a little bit smaller. We don't need to be making these quite as large. I'm gonna run out of space here in a moment. All right, so we still got this. We can do that same sort of large tile here. All right, but then instead of having the information over on the side of it, we could just put a little information just beneath it. So maybe we can give the name there again, and we can give the date so we have some time, you know, that we can kind of reference this by, so I can see how relevant this is. And then this might be a neat place to then stagger them. A little bit like this. So we still got those logos up here nice and large. That's a thought. Let's see how that might feel if we've got, we'll do, this will be the last one for this one. I don't want to get too into this, because I already did like this page a lot anyways. So I mean, you could continue with these larger content sections here, but instead of staggering them like we were, it could just be a larger grid almost. So we got this, got the header, and a little metadata there. Bring it down. And then we could just repeat that essentially and just go like this. So again, I'm not worried about making this look all nice and having straight lines. This is really just to kind of get some ideas out there, out of my head and onto the paper. So out of these, honestly, I'm kind of going more with this one here. I like that just because we get a little more context as to the project, or maybe not the project, but the relevance of it. You know, how recent was this project? Who is it for? Is it just like that? I mean, obviously, it's not just an icon, but it's nice to see the name because the names are not clear on all of these. Like I see something here for what looks like Ramp 48, but I only know that because I've known the brand, or I've at least seen this mock-up going around. But other than that, I have no idea what the name of it is. So I would like to at least see the name as well as the date there. So I think we might go with that one right there. So let's go ahead and we can just jump over to the about. This will be another very, very small, very short one here. So we'll come over here. And I asked if he had any brand guidelines or a set logo or anything like that. And so, I mean, the logo here is like, this is the logo. And as far as the brand guidelines, there was another project we did on this channel called the Design Forum, and it was a very quick, I think it was like 2 videos long. It wasn't very complex or anything, but it was a fun little one. But if you go on there and watch those videos, you'll see some brand guidelines for the Design Forum, and he really just wants to kind of pull from that because it's going to use the same fonts, so the same typography, all of that should be the same. So we're going to just pull from that, but let's see. All right. So let's see what he's got real quick. So he's got just a photo and just a little like blurb about himself. It's nothing much. But I'm not a big fan of the way that it's laid out here. I don't like the full solid color background you got there. I would rather maybe just have like an image off to the side like this. And then if you want to have information about yourself, you could, I don't know, maybe have your name here. You can have, you know, a little body of text, and this will be for anyone who's really interested. Maybe here you might have a couple handles like I don't know, like social media or something like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, something like that. But that's really it. I wouldn't put too much else here. It's I think it would be best simple. And I don't want to do another full bleed image. I feel like that might get a little too busy having that many images on every page like that. And we could keep this photo or this style of image that he's got going on. We could reuse that. So what we have up here on the about us, we could really have here as well. Let's come down here and we'll just create another couple. Oops. Let's create another couple mockups. So he could go and he could keep it really, really simple. And I don't think he's got all of the text written out here yet for what he wants to say about himself. So I'm not sure how much he's planning on writing, but we can see this could just be, you know, a very quick photo of himself. Maybe we float this in like a card and center it. I mean, that's another thought. It just depends on what he wants, what he really wants to say about himself here. Personally, I mean, I love photography, so I do really love using the images. I just feel like, I feel like this here would just be a better fit. So let's stick with that one. I kind of like this because it really reminds me of the Design Forum website. It's very similar there. So I'm gonna stick with that for now, and we'll move on. The next one is just the contact page, which I know he wants to keep this super simple. We had a discussion about this, about what he wants for contact. Or initially, he wanted to have like a whole contact form on here, but we had a discussion after that, and you know, if we're hosting it on GitHub pages, you don't have any access to any PHP or running any PHP code, so we can't just have a form on here and have that fire off an email. So another thing was, well, do you want to have a newsletter list that people can subscribe to, or what? Or do you want to embed a form from totally spacing on the name, type form, or do you just want to have your email there? And so after thinking about it, he said he would rather have just his email here, because he would want the whoever is looking at this that's thinking about contacting him, he wants it to feel more, I guess, exclusive was the word that may have been used there, where it's just, you know, that's it. It's the email. You're going to reach right out to him. I think he thinks it's going to help keep any inquiries to be only serious inquiries. Sorry, I'm fumbling over my words here. I'm getting quite tired. It's been a long day at work today. So here we can just have this really nice big piece of text that is his email, and I think that would be good. I mean, it would definitely work, would definitely accomplish the thing that he wants. Let me pull up my notes. I had asked him a question to see if there was any other information he might want on here as far as contact information, but I don't think there was anything else that he wanted here. I think it was just the email. Well, there might be a phone number as well. So maybe if we had one like, whoops, that's wrong brush. Had one like this. Okay, maybe we do something where we've kind of got like that in the background or something, or maybe we could, here, let's see, do we got any rulers here? Maybe we just got something, you know, a couple lines like this, with his email, and then maybe his phone number. Maybe do something a little like that. Maybe this could just be in the background or something. Let's see. It's kind of difficult to come up with some stuff for this when you're trying to keep it super simple. I feel like a lot of the things that we're going to be doing is just going to come about in the high fidelity design, because As far as the content and just the way that we're going to lay out these pages, there's just not too much here, which is great. It's a nice little project. So I'm going to pull up his document again real quick and just take another look at that. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, a lot of this could be consolidated into even a single page, and you could just have a single scrolling page, but there's some stuff that I do want to do with this in the future. Once we're going to start adding improvements, and it's all with like page transitions. So I think that would be something fun to do and fun to add. So we might just hold off on that. So I mean, here we'll add another one in here. We could have a full bleed light image in the background here, or maybe it's just the color that translates over, and you can have the email here. So I'll just write this out so I don't forget. Email, and then maybe you've got the phone number here. Just write this out. All right, so I think that might be good. In fact, I think this would work best, and this would give us another nice place where we can kind of translate that color over. So that's really about it right now. I mean, this is just the branding right here. This is nothing else other than that. This we've already got going to the work. This we've got set up. This we already just took a quick look at. So the only other one really is the sub page for, let me find it, these projects here. So we've got work, about, all of this is contact. So now let's go into quickly doing the project page. And this page is really where we're going to have a little bit more content. So I'll lay this out here. This you'll get to by clicking on like one of these items, here. Yeah, I don't know how to point when I'm literally recording a screen. You can't see my finger, so I'll just scribble on something. So if you click on that, let's see. What do we want to do? We want to show some information. Well, first of all, we need this button to, at this point, I would want this button to say back, because we're really not going to GUR, which is like home essentially. We're just going to go back to the work page. So this is a sub page from the work page, if that makes sense. Let's see, what did he say we were going to have in this? We're going to have, each project will have a date, a client name, a project type, and a paragraph description. He's going to send me a finalized project at some point soon, so hopefully we can have that by the time we get started on the high fidelity design. But let's go ahead. We're going to have essentially a title here, so this could be the project name, or the company name I should say, and we can let me see, we can still have that date like right underneath here, and we're going to want the project type somewhere. So I'm not sure exactly where I want that just yet. Let me think about that for a minute. So we're also going to have a paragraph. So we got the paragraph here. Paragraph. So yeah, we're only missing the project type essentially at that point. Well, first of all, one other thing that I think would be nice to add here is just like a call to action, like a button or something, to maybe take them to the contact page. Because I if I find something that I really like, I don't really want to like you have to go back and then back and go to the contact. I'd rather just have it right there and click on it. So we can do that, and we can have like a grid, but maybe we can have this like an offset sort of grid of images, and if you click on these, we can have them open in a light box, and they can be all different sizes, kind of scattered some. This is starting to look a little too organized the way I'm scattering this out, but I think you understand the idea I'm having here. Yeah. All right, let's go over here, and we're gonna do another one real quick. Make this a little less wide. It doesn't need to be quite that wide. All right, so this will be back, and we can do project title here. Maybe we can do the type of project it was, like right here. Maybe just like a smaller header or something like that. And then you still got a little bit of meta there, some paragraph text, just like this. And then, yeah, I still feel like we do need some sort of call to action here. Maybe it's contact, maybe it's something else. I have to ask him about what kind of tone he does want to take as far as the way that everything's going to be written. I know he's going to be writing up all of this himself. I'm not writing this for him, but I just kind of want to know like what the tone is that he's going to take before I go in here and I write out all the text for any call to actions or anything like that. So, I mean, we can really just, this I would be totally okay with having. Figure you got something different sizes, and we could have literally only this half over here scroll, like everything this way, just the images. We could do that. So, I mean, that's kind of cool to have them just floating there. I mean, I really feel like that's really what you're going to be looking at most anyways. If you click it, we can enlarge it. I don't know if I want that to take up too much space. Oh, you know what? Let me do one more. Something I totally forgot, actually. Almost all of these, if not all of them, if I remember correctly, are branding projects. So, with that in mind, why don't we have the logo up here for whatever the project was? I'm just going to write this in here. It's going to be the logo. And then we could do right underneath there, we could go ahead with the header, and then we could do the date, maybe the date, yeah. And then you got your body of text. Maybe we've got like the type of work here. Maybe we're listing out the type of work like this. So it's not really going to be a button, but it's maybe you did multiple things on this project. Maybe you did the logo, a color palette. I don't know. Maybe he wants to get more specific with that. And then again, you could have that contact button here. Contact, whatever you want it to say. So that gives you a little bit more information there, and you do get to see that logo right off the bat as well, nice and large. So since a lot of this is going to be brand identity, there you see the logo, name of the company, and then again, we can stick with this sort of tiled imagery here. And we could support multiple different like shapes and sizes of the images, so we could have them stretch to be like 100% width, and or no, we'll set the width to be a certain width so that they all kind of stay the same, but they're staggered because of the different heights. That I think would be pretty easy to do as well. These will just all be images. All right, so I think that makes much more sense like that. Let's go. We'll go with this last one, and honestly, I really think that covers it all. There's not too much to go in here too deep, and I don't want to. I really, if this were another project, let me say, if this were another project where we were starting from scratch, I would have way more iterations over this. You should see the iterations that I've done on my own stuff alone. There's just a lot, but for something like this, we've already put a lot of thought into this. He's put a lot of thought into this. I've consulted a little bit, and you know, we've got something in our minds already, so I don't want to veer too far from that. But anyways, I think I'm gonna wrap this up right now. So we got the home page, we've got the navigation figured out. We're not going with hamburger. We're just gonna do this back button style of navigating back to the home page. And then we've got the work page. I think we got that figured out. I'll talk with him and see how he feels, or how much he's in love with the current one he has, and if he's wanting to change that up. And we've got the about, and then we've also got the contact and individual project page. So I know he's only got like 12 projects right now, and I know he's planning to add some in the future. I just don't know how he wants to go about that. So we'll finish figuring some of that out once we get to high fidelity. But yeah. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. We got a good start on the low fidelity wireframes here, and again, we already had a good idea of what we wanted before we started into this video, so I don't think we need to think through much more of this, at least not right now. And because this is a really small project, I think I mentioned this in the last video, in the intro video for this series, we're not going to be doing a mid-fidelity prototype, so we're just going to jump straight to high fidelity. So I think this should be good for now. I'm going to take what we've done here and I'm just going to have another conversation. I'm going to have a meeting with the client this weekend, and we're going to discuss things a little bit and discuss the timeline for how we want to get this project done, because there is a deadline for this to at least have something tangible that can be presented. And I think that got moved up almost a month. So I still believe we have plenty of time, but I'm going to have another discussion with him and just explain to him everything that we're planning right now based off of the low fidelity wireframes. And we'll go over how many different screens there are, and I just want to be transparent with everything we're doing here. But yeah, that should be it for this video. I'm super excited for next week to jump into the high fidelity design. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If it helped you, subscribe. And if you like the content that I'm creating on this channel, head on over to my Patreon account at patreon.com/Zachary R. Newton, where you can help support this channel and help me create better videos every week. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.